Little known fact, animals live in the forest. It's true. And backpackers go backpacking in the forest. So there's actually a chance that while you're backpacking, you could see animals. Hey guys, welcome back. Chris with Valhalla Hikes. If you're new here, this channel's for new backpackers. And a lot of new backpackers have concerns about animals out in the wilderness. So we're going to talk about that today. Now, there's probably lots of videos about what to do when you meet a bear in the woods, things like that. But I'm going to do a quick overview of the animals you might encounter out there and what to expect. But instead of just giving you the same old lists of how to act when you see a bear, things like that, I thought since we're in a brave new world, I would have AI generate some images for us to analyze based on the animals you might encounter out in the wilderness. Now, it does depend on the region you're in, or the part of the world you're in even, what you're going to encounter out there. But there are some common animals that live in the areas where people generally go backpacking. So we'll probably touch on most of those today. And that's going to include things like deer, squirrels, birds. But before we talk about those individually, let's take a look at the following images just to get an overview of what it's like out there. Okay, so here's a real likely scenario. You got your bear, your deer, and your raccoon all hanging out, and the raccoon apparently has knocked a tree over into the tent, and the bear, of course, just lounging around. Yeah, this is very likely to happen. A much more likely scenario is having all these guys together, and as you can see, that deer is destroying a trekking pole. This is actually a very likely scenario. And of course, we've got the squirrels hanging out there. They're always going to be hanging out, looking for food. And we've got these little guys here trying to get into the backpack, trying to get some food. So once again, very likely scenario. Now, the most realistic depiction here is with the squirrel in the tree who is probably going to be freaking you out all night. And again, you see the deer over here on the right side chewing on those straps. That's very likely. And this is the kind of thing you're going to experience out there as a new backpacker. All right, so this depiction of the backpacker appears to be in the eastern United States, as evidenced by the wild pig down there, the deciduous forest, the clear ground, not so much brush, and what the hell is that? Apparently a bear with a wolf's head. So I don't know what the hell kind of animals you got out there in the east. We could ask Brad from As the Crow Flies Hiking if that's a real thing. And another depiction of what it's like out there. This one's nice and symmetrical. And we see all kinds of wild animals, including snakes. Oh yeah, there's definitely snakes out there. And what the hell is this? Okay, hold on. Okay, apparently the cougar and the wolf had a baby, so that's in the background. And this on the right side, what the hell is that? Is that an owlbear? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's an owlbear. You're going to have to look up the monster manual of Dungeons and Dragons to figure out how to deal with that thing. Yikes. All right, so aside from owlbears, you're probably going to see some of those animals out there, but for the most part, you're not going to see all of them. I have been backpacking for over 25 years. I grew up in a family that was always out in the forest, and I've only seen a bear once in my entire life. But let's do a quick rundown of what you're likely to encounter there. So first and foremost, squirrels. So the little critters. So this is going to include squirrels, chipmunks, mice, little rodents and furry, tiny little fist-sized animals. Those are going to be what you encounter the most, and they're probably going to cause you the most trouble. Chipmunks, squirrels, they're cute and fluffy, and people have a tendency to want to feed them. Now, first of all, don't feed wild animals. And as fun as it is, it makes them accustomed to humans, makes them dependent on humans, and you're feeding them things that they're not accustomed to eating. It's really not good for them, and they become pests. So, for instance, when I was in the enchantments along the way, I stopped for a break, put my backpack down. The chipmunks were so accustomed to people there that they kept coming up to me, climbing up my backpack, and just staring at me, waiting for food. So don't feed them, because not only are they going to be accustomed to humans and become pests, they're going to lose their instinct for going around and doing whatever God made them to do, and that's to scavenge for whatever. So when these small animals get aggressive like that, they're going to come into your camp, but while they seem cute at first, they can become a real nuisance. And if they're bold enough, they will try to get into your tent, they'll try to get into your backpack, and they'll run off with your food. They have a tendency to chew through tents and backpacks. So if you're away from your camp, it's always good to unzip those pockets in your backpack, even if there's nothing in there, because mice, squirrels, they will chew through there looking for food, and that sucks. And in some places, rodents can be a huge problem, like along the Appalachian Trail, where in shelters, mice are so horrible that people stay up all night because of all the scurrying and the running over them. And of course, you can get hantavirus. So again, just avoid feeding wild animals in the first place. Protect your gear by making sure that you leave those zippers unzipped if your backpack is just laying around, and hang your food. So everybody says to hang your food because of bears, but really the biggest problem for getting into your food is going to be those small animals. So hang your food to keep the squirrels and chipmunks and mice out of there. Now, various birds can be beautiful out in the wilderness, but some of them are pretty assertive. So crows are notorious for swooping down and stealing your food if it's just laying around. Same with Steller's jays. Now, those look like blue jays, but they live in the West. They have a black head and they're beautiful. And they will steal your food, and they're bold. So again, the biggest problem with these small animals is going to be protecting your food. So keep it hung up, keep it secure, don't feed the animals. Now, a lot of mammals are attracted to salt. And because of that, they're going to be attracted to backpack straps and trekking pole handles. So porcupines are notorious for destroying gear, eating all of those things if they're looking for salt. Deer will do the same thing. In the Trinity Alps, we had deer running away with people's trekking poles because of the salt. And if you find yourself in that situation, and it's a group trip, and it's one of your partner's trekking poles that's being taken away by a deer, the best course of action is to laugh hysterically. It's definitely not life-threatening if a deer chews up your trekking pole, but it's an annoyance. Deer are beautiful. It's great if you haven't been out there to see a deer in the wild, but just know they can be real pests. So anything with salt, keep those trekking poles in your tent. Same with your backpack, because they will chew on those straps. And then mountain goats, definitely mountain goats crave salt. And so if you're in mountain goat country and you urinate, they're going to be drawn to that, and they're going to get aggressive just trying to lick the salt from the pee. I've seen it happen. I'm going to skip bears in general. There's all kinds of information out there about bears. Just know there's two main bears: black bears and grizzly bears. Grizzly bears will kill you. Black bears are cute. Black bears might kill you if you get between them and their cubs, but for the most part, they're just looking for food, and they don't like to eat people. So I'm not terribly interested in saying what you should and shouldn't do when you see bears. Like, we could do a video about bears, but you're going to find that out there if you want. But if you're in bear country, make lots of noise. Typically, unless you come around a corner and you're standing face to face with a bear, if they hear you, they're going to take off. And really, you shouldn't be afraid of bears because, let's face it, we're all going to die. Every single one of us. We can't avoid it. And I personally would much rather be killed by a bear than die quietly in my sleep when I'm 90 years old. It's a much better story. In all seriousness, there's nothing really to be afraid of out there as far as animals go, for the most part. If you see a black bear in the distance, count yourself lucky. It's a great experience being out there. But the one thing to take away from any of this is that the wilderness is their home. We are guests there. So they are not for us, and we should not do anything to impact them. So don't feed them. Don't try to get close to them so you can get that awesome Instagram picture. Just be grateful that you get to share their home for a while. Now at some point, maybe we can do a video about do's and don'ts for particular animals, but honestly, I just wanted to have a little fun with this, but make a few points that are important. So while you're out there, take your photos, have fun, enjoy seeing the wildlife. Just don't bother them. Don't make their lives harder. Give them space, enjoy their company, and just know you don't really have much to be afraid of out there. People are a lot more dangerous than animals. So while you're out there backpacking, be grateful that you're getting away from most of the people and getting to hang out with creatures that don't act like a bunch of idiots. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you next time.